Chapter 11: Building Your First Startup. An ideal co-pilot or mentor should already be aware of the following things, which are essential to the success of your enterprise. But if they are not, then these will be valuable. In today's dynamic world, there are 1,000 different ways to work on 1,000,000 ideas. You just cannot say yes to everything, even if all of them sound feasible and interesting. In fact, most of us fail for the same reason. Either we fall in love with the idea and chase the next trendy thing, or we end up saying yes to everything all at once. Trouble is inevitable when we make such decisions. Simply put, while building your startup, you shouldn't end up going to hospital, jail, court, or become bankrupt. In addition to what I learned through my failures and considering various inputs from thousands of entrepreneurs across the globe, including those I have been working with for a few years, my mentors, it became clear that there were primarily 5 parameters to satisfy to create a low-risk and high-gain startup or nonprofit. I like to call this concept as the StartUp Kundali. You can look it up to find a detailed picture of it. Kundali, or horoscope in Hindi, is a key aspect in arranged Hindu marriages. Religious leaders match the Kundali of the bride and groom to see if the marriage will be compatible. Simply put, when the stars align, joy and success follow. This startup Kundali provides the key to succeeding with a startup company. While also assessing the pitfalls, it is likely to face challenges when it is missing certain parameters. 1. Lean startup. Your business shouldn't cost an arm and a leg for you to start it up. In fact, it should cost less than 10% of your monthly salary, or else you will need to dip into your savings or look for external funding, which is neither a smart financial move nor sustainable method. Additionally, when it's our own money, our spending attitude and behaviors are different. We tend to spend money more wisely when it is our own hard-earned income. 2. Scalable system. As you expand your business from one location to another one, the operation costs should hardly increase, and the income should be predictable and consistent. Think about the importance and role of projections in a business. That is only possible when there is reliable and dependent data to work with. 3. Mentorship. A successful entrepreneur, living the life you want to live, and not necessarily doing what you want to do, should be available to support and mentor you. The support is required not just in helping you build a sustainable business, but also a sustainable life. 4. Flexibility. You should be able to start up your business part-time while keeping your full-time career job and eventually transition full-time into entrepreneurship if you choose to. Many of us become too brave and take an impulsive or half-baked high-risk decision to quit the career job too early. With the job gone, money becomes tight, and we start making desperate decisions. Ultimately, not all high-risk decisions lead to high rewards. It is the smart thinking behind high-risk decisions that provides the high rewards we seek. 5. Resilient. Business shouldn't be significantly affected by economic cycles or inflation. The goal is to build something sustainable. Consider a mango tree which can last for centuries instead of growing a mushroom farm which fizzles out in a tiny adversity. For example, even though I am a technology lover, it makes practical sense to be in the toothpaste business compared to laptop business, because people continue to brush their teeth whether they have a job or not. There's one additional parameter: it should satisfy your conscience. If your business is built at the cost of other people, you will not have peace of mind in the long term. Use the business to build people instead of using people to build the business. In fact, the 2008 crisis was a result of unethical practices in the investment banking industry. Unfortunately, we are seeing a similar trend of anomalous inflation in the healthcare and education sectors. My current businesses satisfy all the criteria, and hence I paid a lesser price for my growth and success. Most entrepreneur friends of mine didn't have all the parameters satisfied. They still succeeded but had to pay a higher price for success. For example, my wife's online education system satisfied all the parameters, except that she didn't have anyone to mentor her. She did her best to find a mentor or a collaborator, but taking the generally available channels proved unsuccessful. Peer mentors were equally lost. MBA professors were helpful but lacked practical experience, and successful CEOs were either too busy or did not want to support a competitor. Due to the lack of mentorship, stress in various areas of her life led to an extreme case of PCOS, which put her in the emergency room 3 times in the same week at one point. Of course, she has since then reversed that condition through natural methods and later went on to have a natural, healthy, happy home birth. But as you can see, missing even one parameter can be quite fatal, albeit in different ways for each person. Let's consider the pitfalls of a startup when it fits only one of the parameters. If you have a lean business which does not fit the other 4 parameters, then it leads to stagnation, the lack of growth, be that personal or business growth. As a result, it will lead to relationship issues, both personal and professional, because in many ways you are your business. If you have found a way to scale your business, perhaps in a virtual space, but have no access to mentorship, lack the lean startup capital and cash flow, and find yourself struggling to balance the finite amount of time you have in a day to juggle your job, family life, and business, it will ultimately lead to debt, stress, and likely lead to relationship issues. From personal to professional ones. Mentorship. If you have a mentor, you are bound to get guidance. But what good is the guidance when you have no place or space to apply the knowledge? That leads to knowledge constipation, and ultimately, great personal growth, but little to no business growth, hence stagnation. Along those lines, your mentor may be imparting great knowledge, but what about the cash to sustain and grow your business? Without proper cash flow, you are likely to find yourself and your business drowning in debt. Flexible. If you have a business which is flexible, it is likely not time-bound. Maybe you can work on your business around your job hours, but how sustainable is it? Given that in this scenario, it is not from a lean capital, you are already starting off in debt. On top of which, if your business were to be hit by a recession, it is likely to become a mountain of debt. No doubt when there is debt, it morphs into stress, and that stress in turn starts showing up in the way we interact with others, leading to both personal and professional relationship issues. Without any mentorship to guide you through this, it is likely to cause stagnation to occur, both with personal and business growth. Resilient. If you have a strong, resilient company, then it can withstand the heat, the pressure of an economic crisis. It is essentially recession-proof or pandemic-proof. In that case, it is likely a business operating in the education, health, or consumer goods industry, as those will sustain during tough times as seen during the COVID pandemic. But because it wasn't lean and you lacked mentorship, you will most likely end up with debt and stress. Additionally, as it wasn't flexible or scalable, it would lead to stagnation. Aside from these scenarios, there are many combinations of pitfalls that are there, where a couple or more of the parameters are missing, as shown by the color gradient in the StartUp Kundali. To understand the significant impact these parameters can have on a business idea, let's do a short exercise. Consider the following scenario. Joe is in the last semester of college, only a semester away from graduating with an undergrad degree, and is planning to start a digital marketing and content creation company now so that it will be established by graduation. The digital marketing field is hot right now, according to Joe, and is also passionate about it. Joe has some student loans to pay off and believes that business income will eventually help with that. An MBA professor on campus has agreed to guide and meet with Joe for an hour monthly. The professor has also mentioned in the past that they haven't run a company of their own, but has been a business professor for almost a decade. Which of the following parameters are met in the scenario above? Lean, scalable, mentorship, flexible, resilient. Which of the following pitfalls is Joe likely to experience? Debt, stress, personal relationship issues, stagnation. Chapter summary. While building your startup, you shouldn't end up going to hospital or jail or go bankrupt. An ideal startup should be lean, scalable, flexible, resilient, and most importantly, should have mentorship. Use the business to build people instead of using people to build the business.